Have you ever seen that video?
No.
Pull that video up because it's one of my favorite.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Jim and Frank's Thursday Throwdown.
Hey, Jim, it's Thursday.
Yep.
Time for a throwdown.
Time for a throwdown.
And we have a special guest.
And we do. We got Jeffery Brenneman back
Yeah.
for more.
Yes.
It's too bad we're not doing Rat.
Almost, yeah.
San Diego.
There you go. San Diego.
It's almost like half a
Represent.
guest, though, right? It's almost like half a guest, not a whole guest, though.
Yeah.
Guys
Guys melting away before our eyes.
amazing. It's just, I noticed on Facebook a lot of your photos and everything. I holy cow, the transformation over the last few months has been amazing. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. My wife will look at older pictures and she's like, dang, dude, you were fat. And I'm like, that's not nice to say. And she goes, oh, I can say that now that you're 75 pounds lighter, but
That's great. Well, we're both
Awesome.
very proud of you.
thank you very much. I appreciate it, guys. The support, it means a lot.
That's part of the Star Trek deal of live long and prosper, right?
Yeah.
There you go. I can't do that.
There you go.
I can even do it with my toes, which grosses my wife out.
We don't want to see that. That
We're not gonna see
is
that.
too much
Really, I'd kind
information.
of like to see that actually.
You guys can have a
Yeah, maybe after the show. I don't
We'll have a
Yeah.
private time.
little Star Trek intervention afterwards.
know.
Hey, well, Jeff, since you're our guest, you get to pick the band and the albums for this Thursday Throwdown. And keep in mind, there are no wrong answers, just lots of opinions. And I know you've got them.
I've got opinions.
All right.
Bring them.
Yeah. What do you have for us?
So I was inspired by the last episode I watched from you guys because you guys had a three-piece, a trio, The Police doing Outlandish, Damar, and Synchronicity, which was a lot of fun to watch. And thanks for having me back, guys. I really appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
So I was
for
trying to
joining
think
us.
I was trying to think of another three-piece band, and I was thinking of Husker Du, Minutemen, there's a bunch of them. But the band that I came to pick was Rush. Probably one of my favorite three-piece bands. And all three of these guys are amazing. I mean, you got Neil Peart, one of the best drummers ever, right?
Yes.
Alex Lifeson, I love his guitar playing, and Geddy Lee's incredible bass player. Jim, I know as a bass player, if nothing else, you have to appreciate his bass playing.
Yeah, I was blown away the first time I heard a Rush album.
Right.
And his singing's like a whole nother level. Whether you care for that or not, I'm not sure. But I went with the 1976 album 2112 and the 1981 album Moving Pictures, because I think both of these records are pretty pivotal. And I don't even know which one I'll pick, to be honest, between these two, because I absolutely love pretty much everything this band has done, but especially these two records. Fly By Night is another favorite, but for different reasons, I think these two records were pretty pivotal in the band's career, so wanted to go with those two.
Oh, awesome. I know I was just reading up today on 2112 was a very pivotal album because they had just come off their last tour that did not do well at all. And yeah, they thought if we don't do something quick, we're done.
Yeah.
What was ahead? Was that Hemispheres ahead of that?
Caress of Steel.
Oh, Caress of Steel.
Yeah.
That's right.
So Mercury was looking to actually drop them. This was kind of like, even though it's their fourth album with 2112, Mercury, the label, said, all right, we're giving you one more shot.
Right.
You're in or you're out. So I guess they were writing this album during that tour of
While
Caress
on
of
tour.
Steel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
I mean, sorry to cut you off. I just want to say one of the first CDs I ever owned was 2112.
wow.
Yeah. And
Wow.
as crystal clear as that was,
Good
you know,
choice.
blasting on my new stereo I'd got from Circuit City or wherever, where I got a free 10-speed bicycle when I bought the stereo. But I blasted that Rush album like there was no tomorrow, and it was clean. Love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when we get into the songs, depending on how you break them up, Jim, we could say that these are pretty much around 3 minute averages, depending how you talk about side
Depending
one.
how, yeah.
Oh, there's the question itself. We'll start with you, Jim. Is it one song or is it 7 on side one?
Each movement's a little different. So I call it seven movements in one piece.
Okay.
Is that fair?
I totally agree.
I agree only because when you go back and you look at live clips or compilations and everything, portions of those movements are on those clips. They don't necessarily always play it all at one time. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And so it's kind of like Abbey Road, the second side of Abbey Road, where you've got it's kind of a medley, different movements all combined, but they're all different songs, in my opinion. I think Jim totally nailed it.
unless you're listening on iTunes, and then you're screwed because you're listening to it's one song.
Mm,
You
yeah.
can't break it up.
Well, I mean, if you can call that screwed,
You're
Yeah.
not because, like you
it's
said,
pretty good.
yes, each song just has a life of its own. I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah, couple of singles off this record, right? We had Twilight Zone.
Passage to Bangkok, was that?
No, Temple of Syrinx.
Oh, my favorite song, Temple
Yeah,
of
those are the
Steel.
two main.
Ah,
Yeah, and then yeah, you are right. I think Passage of Bangkok did come out with what is it, Twilight Zone? Yeah, with Twilight Zone afterwards.
Oh,
Just fantastic. Just
yeah, not really a band I think of as a singles band for sure.
no,
I think of Rush definitely for the most part as to me as I mean there were songs on the radio, and we'll talk a little bit about that with moving pictures,
right.
but and Spirit of Radio. I mean there were songs that you did have on the radio, but to me they always seemed like they were an album band.
Yeah.
Probably mainly because they definitely leaned heavy towards the progressive rock
Yeah, and
kind of.
I was not a prog rock fan, so to speak. And at the time I didn't even really know what that meant because I didn't know like a band like Jethro Tull was considered prog rock.
Mm.
I didn't know. I thought of when I heard that, I think yes, in those style of bands.
Emerson, Lake and
early
Palmer.
Genesis, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
But Rush, I just thought they were a balls to the wall rock band.
Yeah.
Alex Lifeson, one of the cleanest, tastiest guitar players you will ever find. He, while being flashy, he's not flashy.
I totally agree. I mean, there's songs like if you listen to the end of Presentation on the 2112, I mean, his guitar playing is incredible on that, but it's still very tasteful and very melodic. But he seems like the kind of guitar player that has that level of skill, but
Right.
doesn't necessarily feel like he needs to prove that he's the best guitar player. Like
Right.
I feel like he plays to the kind of music that they make. That's how I
Well,
kind of feel about him.
exactly. He is playing to the song,
Yeah.
not for the flash.
Yeah,
Within the context.
Yeah.
within the context. I mean, they're not writing pop songs,
No,
but
not
for
yet.
that for prog rock, leaning towards the more standardized rock songs, especially on some of the later albums.
Right.
I think he definitely played to the songs, I felt.
I think they got kind of more proggy as they went along. And I saw an interesting quote or clip. They were talking to Kiss and asking him about, touring with Rush or whatever. And they thought, some of the most exciting times was when they were touring on that first album. He said, because that album was like Humble Pie. It was like Led Zeppelin, right? It was more like you said, kind of straight up balls to the
Standard rock.
wall rock and roll, right?
Mhm.
But when I think of a song like Fly By Night, I think the same thing, right? It's just you could release that as a single and it's a great tune.
Yep.
So good.
Oh yeah. Well, the first couple albums, Working Man, holy cow.
Yeah.
I remember hearing that riff the first time on the radio and like, whoa, this is heavy. And again, we can talk about Geddy Lee's voice. I there's three of them. The first when he first started singing was just he was singing, and then more as it went on, that higher pitch, and then we've talked about it before on other episodes and different shows. The mature Geddy Lee on the later albums,
Yeah.
and I like all of them. I don't find his higher tone annoying or anything. Again, it fits the style of the song that they're playing.
And he seems such like a nice guy. I've seen different interviews with him, and I saw an interview where Geddy Lee said that there was a time in his life when people would always approach him and they want pictures or autographs or whatever, and he would, just be trying to go out to have a dinner with, family or friends or whatever, and it was kind of annoying. And then he said something clicked in his mind, and he said, "You know what? I make art. These people love art. All they want is a picture, an autograph, and they're gone."
Right.
He's like, and these people basically are my bosses. Like these people write my checks. So he's like, what is, 30 seconds to smile and take a picture? And he's like, I appreciate these people. And he goes, something clicked. And he's like, from now on, I won't turn anybody away. He's like,
Wow.
I hope that people would be respectful of my time in whatever situation. But if somebody asks, he's like, I'm going to do it because they're, and I thought, wow, like that's incredible. Like somebody at his stature, um, as far as celebrity level,
Mhm.
taking time out for his fans, I thought that was amazing.
Yeah,
No, I
absolutely.
agree. And being Canadian doesn't hurt.
They're they're so nice. Whenever we go to Canada, everybody's so sweet.
Right.
Like Chippendale, like, no, you go first. No, you go first. You go first. Can I show one picture? We're talking about 2112. What about this,
Absolutely.
guys?
Yes, look at that. Now that's very proggy, right?
Yes. The white robes. It's
Yes,
fantastic.
absolutely. I was going through 2112 today, Jim, and listening to it. And the thing about Rush that they always do a few acoustical beginnings and intros and different things. And sometimes it breaks off into a really strong album or song, and sometimes it's just a nice little ballad. But the last song on 2112 will, if I had hair, it would rip the hair out of my skull. I was listening, and we were talking about how tasteful Alex Lifeson is and everything. That song rips like there's no tomorrow, and yet it
Yeah.
just fades. It just fades. You know,
Yeah, I don't
I
know how many time signatures are in that too. It seems
I
to
don't know.
flip at least two, maybe
Yeah,
three different time signatures, going for like three. I think it's like 3/4, and then it goes into like 5/4, and I think there's a little bit of 4/4 in there. I'm like, what?
I don't
My
know.
brain is just exploding. Like,
Yes,
how did they write this? And meanwhile, Alex Lifeson's just like all over the fretboard.
right. Fantastic way to end an album. Yeah.
Agree.
All right. How about moving pictures in 1981?
Yes. So
Okay.
for me, this
Yep.
was my freshman year in high school.
Okay.
I think Frank, you were in college, and I think Jim, you might have been on your third kid by
No,
1981.
not quite.
This is our
Okay, okay,
graduating
I
year.
was that was our graduating year. So I
okay,
still in high school when that came out.
okay. All right, all right.
And again, on another episode or a different podcast, I had admitted I did not know what a red barchetta was
Mm,
until listening to all the lyrics of the song and understanding that it was a car. Because looking at them, I'm like, what is this? I was thinking of something like Heart of Barracuda. Is this a
mm.
fish? What is this story going to tell? Right? And what a fantastic story.
Same boat. I was in the same boat as you.
Yeah.
One of my all-time favorite Rush songs.
Yeah.
Love
Fantastic.
it. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
I will say moving pictures to me, and this has the same producer, Terry Brown,
Right.
who did everything from Fly By Night all the way up to Signals for
Yeah.
them. Their classic period, if you ask me. But side one of this, if you listen to it as the vinyl, is like a
Yes.
perfect record to me.
Right.
You have Tom Sawyer, you've got Red Barchetta, YYZ,
Mm-hmm.
and Limelight.
Limelight. Yeah.
Um, YYZ, did you guys know that that those were the airport letter designations for the Toronto airport?
I
Wow.
just found that out today.
Very
Yeah,
good.
And
and
that
then
drum beat is Morse code.
That is crazy.
YYZ.
Yeah.
Dun 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 dun
Right.
dun 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 dun. It's that is insane. But
Right.
and then Limelight, how can you not talk, how can you talk about Limelight and not talk about I Love You Man? Did you guys see that
Oh,
movie?
yeah, I love that movie. Uh-huh. Yeah, slap at the bass. Slap at the bass.
Yeah, so they go to see Rush, right? And the two main characters with Jason Segel and Paul
Mhm.
Rudd are just
Paul Rudd, yeah.
rocking out to Rush. And you got Paul Rudd's girlfriend Zoe over here like
Yep. She's not digging it. Yes. Oh, when they're getting into it. Yeah. Yeah.
Limelight. What a great song.
Yeah, I agree.
Now
I
I
agree.
don't know if you guys have seen this, but Rush will end up on a lot of lists of worst rock bands.
Crazy.
And the evidence for this is the song Tom Sawyer.
Oh,
And they hold it up as like one of the worst rock songs ever written. And this sort of myth or this idea gets passed around from list to list to list, and it's the same idea and the same quote, and they say the lyrics are terrible.
Hmm.
I will admit, probably one of my least favorite Rush songs.
Right.
oh,
I know I'm in the minority.
Yeah.
Part of that is because it's been overplayed.
Sure.
And also lyrically, I'm just not a big fan of it.
Okay.
But
Fair.
but the space he invades gets by on you.
I know. The thing is to hold up one song and say, well, this is why Rush sucks. They released something like 230 songs or something like that over the course. I would put their catalog up against anybody's.
I agree.
Me too.
Anybody. I mean, to be that consistent over that many records over that long a period of time. I mean, I'm gushing now, but most bands could not lick Rush's Collective Boot. I'm sorry.
Agreed.
I mean, and whatever you think of them, you cannot fault the musicianship in the band.
Oh.
I mean, you said Neil Peart, one of the best. I mean, arguably the best rock drummer ever.
You when you talk about progressive drummers, his name comes up every single time.
Every time.
Everybody looks at him as an influence.
Yeah, I mean, next generation drummers will get named,
Right.
But those guys were all influenced by Neil.
Yeah.
Right. And they will all point to him as saying that was the guy, right? He's the guy that, introduced me to drumming, or he's the guy that was my main influence, whatever it is.
And it's rare that he was the lyricist. How
Yes.
often do you have a drummer that's the lyricist? I mean, there are some, but that's not typical to have
No, very not.
your drummer be your main lyricist.
This is
A big reader.
Yeah,
this is a band of 3 nerds.
they're very
On a
nerdy.
level.
They were all very awkward individuals growing up. And I know you've seen the documentary and stuff on them. The way they came together just was meant to be because they fit so perfectly.
Yeah.
Once they gelled, once they got Neil in the fold.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe too much time on the train to Bangkok.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Now, Moving Pictures was 5 times platinum.
Yeah.
So-
Monster of a record for them.
Yeah.
Would anybody know, was that their biggest seller?
Oh,
I don't know. I would venture to guess that
Had to be the biggest up to that point.
yeah,
certainly in the U.S., I would think.
Yeah.
could be. Have to look that up, but it is probably one of the tops for sure.
I mean, if you turn on classic rock radio, the songs you typically hear are from Moving Pictures.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you got Limelight, Tom Sawyer, right? But
And I know Vital Signs was released as a single, and
Yeah.
I'm familiar with it as being on the CD. I don't recall hearing it on the radio an awful lot
Yeah, me either.
because Tom Sawyer and Limelight were always on the radio.
Inescapable. Limelight, another one of my absolute favorite
Right.
so good, so good.
songs.
Vital Signs at times kind of reminds me of the Police. We were talking about
Yes.
the Police earlier, and you guys mentioned it. Not exactly, but it's got a little bit of a reggae vibe.
Yeah.
Right.
The way
So I was
that
going to say that kind of reggae thing going on.
I
and the
agree.
way that Alex Lifeson plays on parts of that song kind of remind me of the Police a little bit. But
Now, Jeffrey, did you see Rush live? Did you ever get a chance
Only
to?
once on the Signals tour.
Okay.
And I was planning to see them again, just like I did with Tom Petty, the next time they came around, and then they broke up. Or
Yeah.
Neil wasn't in a position to to play, but
Right.
only once, and that was on the Signals tour in San
Wow.
Diego.
I imagine.
Amazing.
I
It
was
was
going to say, I imagine that
incredible.
was a great show because being the musicians that they are. Any desire to see them in any other incarnation if they were to play again? I know they've spoke against it.
Well, didn't they do an event where um was it Grohl sang with them, or
I don't know.
Yes.
I think like one or two songs at maybe a
Hmm.
charity event
Okay.
or something,
Yes.
I
and
missed
I was
that.
totally into it.
Okay.
I don't even remember that. Like, I remember loving the performance, watching it, but my memory's so bad I don't even remember like the details of it. But
Right.
I just remember loving watching them. But I have to give them a lot of props for respecting that Neil was such a huge part, and up to this point they said that's probably not going to happen
Right.
because without Neil, there's no Rush. I
Right.
have to respect that, but I would go see them if they brought. And you know what? Zach Starkey's available.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he is.
I mean, he can't play Neil Peart, but
Yep.
Well, the rough thing about that, and Frank and I talked about this a little bit a while back, do they do it? And I said, well, don't call it Rush, but just go out and play, take a drummer with you. The problem is anybody who steps behind that kit,
Well,
right, is just going to get
they're under
savaged.
fire. Right.
yeah, yeah. I feel for that.
It's a no-win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what Dave felt like, playing with those guys. It had to
Yeah.
be intimidating.
Most definitely. Well, tell me something, Jeff. I think
What's that?
Moving Pictures got more airplay on the radio than 2112, depending on the radio stations that you listen to. But I think 2112 was a very solid record. But if you had to pick one of them, yeah, which one would you take, and which one would you leave behind?
Why did I do this? I honestly don't know, but I'm gonna think this through. I will say that from these two records, my two least favorite songs are on 2112.
Okay.
With Twilight Zone and Tears are probably my least favorite out of all of these.
Mhm.
I do think that the 2112 medley is perfect. I do
Mhm.
think side one of Moving Pictures is perfect. I'm not huge on side two of Moving Pictures. I like it. I
It
think it's
slows down
good.
quite a bit, though. Yeah.
But I think that side one of 2112 is stronger than side two of Moving Pictures. Think I'm going to give the edge to 2112.
Yeah.
Oh,
Very
interesting.
good. Very good. This is a tough
Maybe.
one. Maybe. Well, we'll give you a few minutes
I
to
love both of
ponder.
them, but
Yeah.
I'm going to go with 2112.
All right. All right. And again, we've heard Moving Pictures, the songs on that on the radio so much. But I'm going to go with that only because it is such a big part of my teenage years. I was into that album um, before 2112. So I would think, because I went backwards. I would think
Same.
I'm going to go with Moving Pictures on this one. And it's not taking anything away from 2112 because, like you said, it's a fantastic record. Jim, what about you?
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah.
That first side of 2112 is, like Jeff said, I think perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect. I still kind of like Passage to Bangkok always makes me laugh every time it comes on.
Right.
I remember hearing that in high school and just cracking up. Like,
A
what is
song
this
about
tune?
weed.
I know. And I'm like thinking, these guys are kind of too smart to be singing about weed, aren't they?
Yeah. They were big.
Yeah, it was a little
smokers.
surprising to hear it, right? Boy, I think I gotta go with Moving Pictures. Just because kind of same thing like what Frank said. I mean, YYZ, love it.
Mhm.
Red Barchetta, like I said, one of my all-time favorite Rush songs. And Limelight too.
I'm kind of
I
surprised.
think they had matured a little bit,
Yeah.
songwriting wise.
The thing that surprises
I'd go
me,
with it.
Jim, the average song length, I think on Moving Pictures, well, there is an 11-minute song, so that's gonna
Yes.
that's gonna throw up the curve. But the shortest song is 419. That's Limelight. So 419, 443, a couple songs, 443, 423, 606, 433. So I was kind of surprised,
Yeah.
Jim, that you went with the
Nothing feels long. And for
That's
when it comes to the 3-minute roll, everything goes out the window when it comes to Rush
Correct.
for me. I mean, it's so interesting musically. You're never like, oh, God, just get to the end, right? Because it's just fantastic all the way through.
Let's just take a turn. We've taken our picks, and we're on that desert island, and we're walking a trail. Going to go make our hut, and on the ground is Permanent Waves. Do you just keep on walking, or do you maybe consider that one?
Spirit of Radio is probably my all-time favorite Rush song. But I think both of those albums as a package are probably a little stronger than Permanent Waves.
I agree with you on that, Jim, and I'll get your opinion in a second, Jeff. I love Permanent Waves as an album. The single Spirit of Radio may be the most perfect song in my mind, period. I just love that song.
great.
Same.
But I think Moving Pictures as a whole, as a record, I'm sticking with that. And I'm going to go ahead and
Just keep on walking.
Keep on walking.
Leave that album there in the sand.
Just kind of let it just
to melt under the hot sun.
Yeah.
I'd probably pick it up and stick it in my backpack. Not tell anybody.
Jeff, what about you? Permanent Waves, thoughts?
I love that album. I prefer these two. I would be more stumped if Fly By Night was there because I love By Tor and the Snow Dog.
Uh-huh.
But I love Permanent Waves too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would have to stick personally with 2112 and Moving Pictures. If I only have spots for 2 CDs in my backpack.
You only got
That's
one.
it.
Just got one. All right. Well, I said that obviously no wrong answer on this one at all because they're such strong records, such great band, such great memories too. Sometimes, it's funny. Sometimes you have a band where there might be a song or two on there that reminds you of something when you were going through that wasn't so pleasant as a kid or a teenager. I had nothing but good times with listening to Rush. I was a teenager. I was working at a drive-through dairy. I had the world in my hands. I was as happy as can be. And I don't ever put on Rush and think, oh yeah, I remember this bummer. Never. It's always good stuff, good memories.
Awesome.
Frank and his Camaro.
I had my '68 Camaro. That's right.
Wow. I had a Toyota Camry.
So close to what I had. Yeah.
Not quite.
Very good. All right, guys. Well, I think that about wraps it up this week.
Split decision.
Split decision. I have, like I say, no qualms about it at all. It's win-win all the way around, the way I see it.
I'm curious what your listeners will say.
Yeah, all 2 of them. We'll see.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna comment too.
Please do.
I'm gonna pick one in the comments
because without you, we shoot down 50%. So
please smash that like button. And we appreciate the share too.
Always.
Yeah. Oh, it's very nice of you.
Yes. I always, anytime someone will take the time to comment on the videos or whatever, it's a bonus for us. So
absolutely.
Share, comment, let us know. Give us a thumbs down if you want. I don't care. Just let us know.
Yeah.
Just let us know. You can't give
us
a thumbs down.
You can say thumbs down, Rush.
I don't know anybody that doesn't like Rush. Have you ever met anybody that doesn't like Rush?
Oh yeah.
Have you?
Yeah. I
Worst
think
rock
you said
band
people
Somebody
either
does.
violently love this band or they violently hate them.
Yeah, I've never.
John Williams. There's a guy who hates Rush.
Ah, well, he was high. What did he know?
He was on the Passage to Bangkok.
Yeah,
Nah, maybe
yeah,
so.
he probably was. Yep.
So, are you going to let your listeners add in permanent waves if they want, after they pick between 2112 and
They can say whatever they want. It's a
Absolutely.
free country.
Yep. There's no rules.
Get on there and say Fly By Night's your favorite.
Yeah, well, I'm all for it. All right, guys. So glad, Jeff. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks
Let's do it
again, Jeff.
Thank you, guys.
Do it again sometime.
And don't forget, attention, planets of the Solar Federation. We have regained control.
Hey, just for old time's sakes.
Stay fresh, cheese bags. Woohoo!
All right. See you later.
Awesome.